Hey guys, welcome back to the Quad Stop. We're going to continue working on our Project 300EX, and today we're going to take care of the wheels. We're going to get them cleaned up and polished up, and we're also going to do the exhaust system that I picked up from a subscriber. So we're going to do the exhaust wrap and try to get the silencer cleaned up as well. So stay tuned and we'll get busy. Okay guys, so what we've got, when we bought the Project 300, it's got new tires on it. But we're doing all this work and we're gonna try to get, I did a little test pattern here. We're gonna try to get these wheels completely cleaned up. It's got some damage in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wet sand the inside of it to get some of those imperfections out. And then we're just gonna run a polisher over it. We're gonna be using the Mother's Power Cone and some Mother's polish, and we'll see how these come out. So we're just going to use some regular Windex just to lube it up a little bit. You can use water, whatever you choose. Now, keep in mind, we're not trying to get perfection out of this, but you know, nobody's going to want to buy a quad that looks like it's just been tore up. So, you know, it doesn't really matter how well something runs or how well it's put together. If it looks like it's been abused, nobody's going to want to touch it. So, you know, we all know maintenance wins races, but appearance sells them. So it's kind of hit or miss. And don't get me wrong, you know, if this isn't your thing and you just want to go ride, you know, hey, it's got good tires. You know, you can just go ride, and that's fun. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just not where I want to be and what we're doing. Anytime somebody gets a quad from us, we want to make sure that, you know, it's something that they're proud of. It's something that looks good, runs good, you know, and isn't gonna break the bank at the same time. Not sure what that is going on behind that valve stem, but we're going to try to get as much of it off as we can. So I'm just using an 800 grit wet dry sandpaper just to try to get a little bit better finish on them. Again, it's not going to be perfect. I don't expect it to be, but it looked horrendous. So if we can clean it up just a little bit, make it look a little better. Not only that, but it makes them a lot easier to clean later, to get debris and stuff off, you know. We're not trying to win any awards. We're just trying to clean them up. All right, so just so you can see, they're still pretty rough, but we're just gonna go ahead and try to get it cleaned up. Try to get just a little bit of shine on them. So what we're gonna be doing is I've got the the Mother's Power Cone and Mother's Mag Polish. Gonna get a little dip in here. Let's take a look, see how that did. I don't know, what do you guys think? So what do you think? Better? I think that's acceptable. So I'll go ahead and finish up this wheel here, and then I'll get you some after shots. Okay, so it's not perfect, but it looks a ton better. Wheels have got they've got a lot of pits in them. They're old, so I think that is going to look just fine. Got the tire cleaned up, so I think that's going to look just fine for the back of our 300. Okay, we'll get the other wheel off and get that taken care of, and we'll come back and I'll give you an after shot. Okay guys, so that's what the finished product looks like. Not too bad. I'll show you what I did is I went ahead and used that same thing on the exhaust, and it came out real well, and did header wrap on the exhaust. And I use metal zip ties, And I'm going to do a whole other video for you guys on how to do that and how to set it up and how to wrap it. But we got a package today, and it looks like we're going to be putting our handguards on. Let me take you up, give you a look at what our bar setup looks like right now. So we're using ODI lock-on grips, stock throttle, and we did go to a 1/8 fat bar. We have our safety tether on, stock switch. So what we're going to do is go ahead and put our handguards on. I went with a wraparound handguard. At first I was struggling whether or not to put this LED light bar back on it, but I figured if somebody's going to run trails and they may want to run at night, let's go ahead and put it back on. It didn't have a factory taillight mount on it, so what I did is I have just a small little trailer red LED, and that should do the trick. All right, guys, we're gonna get our handguards unpacked and start to get those installed. We'll be right back. So I ordered some handguards off of Amazon by JFG Racing. They were about, I want to say $33 or $34. Now I run these on my 400EX. They do seem to hold up really well. They are a bar end mount, so they are full surround instead of just the floating one that sits out like this. I was running a floating handguard on my 400EX, and if you've ever hit a palm frond, it will fold that thing right back into your hands, and that does tend to hurt just a little bit. So I moved on to the full surround so that I don't have that issue anymore. They look like they're pretty high quality. They're an ABS plastic. It does have two pieces here, so you can remove this piece here if you want a slightly lower profile, which is normally what I do, is take this off. They're pretty much universal for 7/8 bars and 1 1/8. So it comes with, you know, obviously plastic shims to fit around each bar to make them tight, and then these are the ends that go in the end of the bars. And what's really neat about them is they swivel. So when you put these together like this, doesn't matter what angle your bars are at, it still allows them to swivel. So you've got multiple degrees of movement to make sure that they fit, so you can level them out. So looks like they're really good quality. A lot of folks, you know, give the Chinese a bunch of flack, but it's 6061 aluminum. If you can save a little bit of money, you can save a little bit of money. There's nothing wrong with it. We run Chinese handles every once in a while. So we're going to get these assembled and get them installed over on the 300. Okay, so we had to do some slight modifications on the other side. For some reason, the ID, or inside diameter of the bars, is a little bit smaller on these ones here, so it wouldn't fit the large one, and the small one was too small. So the ID right here is what we were working with. So these will squeeze down just a little bit. And I think we'll be all right. All right, now all we gotta do is put this lower clamp on down here.
All right, then you just make sure that they're level and tighten it all down. Super easy stuff. Just remember not to over tighten these. It is just aluminum and you run the risk of stripping them out. So, all right, we'll get these tightened down and see how they look. Okay guys, what do you think? I think they're pretty straight. I think I'm gonna go ahead and leave these guards on top because I really like the way that looks. We can still get to our reverse switch here. We can still get to all of our adjustments. And I think that looks pretty good. I think it's gonna look great. Even better when we get our shock covers in and our graphics kit.
Okay guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned a little bit of something, and hopefully we'll have this thing ready for its first start and its first ride soon. Thanks again for stopping by. We'll see you again.